First contact gone wrong. The Meridian trading post hung in space like a jeweled snowflake, its crystalline spires reflecting starlight across 50 kilometers of vacuum. For centuries, it had served as neutral ground for 17 spacefaring species, none of whom had ever encountered anything quite like the vessel that now approached their sensors' range. Station Director Vex's secondary eyes tracked the unknown ship, while her primary set remained fixed on the emergency council gathering before her. Her chitinous exoskeleton clicked softly as she shifted position, addressing the assembled representatives. "The vessel's energy signature exceeds anything in our database," she announced, her translator converting her clicks and whistles into standard galactic common. "Its hull composition includes elements we've never seen combined in this way." The council chamber erupted in overlapping voices and pheromone signals. The Gathori representative's tentacles twisted in agitation, while the crystalline Angstei representative vibrated at a frequency that indicated extreme concern. "We're receiving a transmission," announced Chief Communications Officer Zal II, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with anxiety. "They're broadcasting in 17 different languages, including some we've never encountered." The main holographic display flickered to life, revealing a sight that caused several council members to emit involuntary stress hormones. The being on screen was bilateral symmetric, with exposed dermal layers in a pale pink tone and a covering of dark artificial fabric. Its face featured forward-facing eyes and exposed teeth, a predator's configuration. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Hyperion. We request permission to establish diplomatic contact and discuss trade relations." The chamber fell silent. The humans had found them. Stories had trickled through the trading networks over the past few years, tales of a newly spacefaring species that had somehow bypassed the normal technological progression patterns. They had gone from primitive chemical rockets to faster-than-light travel in less than 2 centuries, an unprecedented leap that violated all known development models. Director Vex's threat assessment glands were working overtime, but her diplomatic training took precedence. "Greetings, Captain Chen. We are surprised by your arrival. Our records indicated human space was several sectors distant." The human's facial muscles shifted in what their xenological database identified as a smile, though whether this indicated aggression or friendliness was still debated among xenobiologists. "We've made some recent advances in propulsion technology," Chen replied. "We're interested in establishing peaceful trade relations and cultural exchange." A low-frequency rumble from the Angstei representative interrupted. "Your vessel's weapon systems are powered and your shields are at full capacity. This is not how one approaches for peaceful trade." "Standard operating procedure for unknown space," Chen replied smoothly. "We've encountered our share of pirates. I'm happy to power down weapon systems once basic security protocols are established." The human ship's energy readings suddenly shifted, causing several sensor operators to emit alarm pheromones. But instead of attacking, the vessel's weapon systems powered down, though shields remained at minimal levels, a reasonable precaution that actually earned quiet clicks of approval from several military advisors. "Perhaps," Director Vexa ventured, "we could begin with a small delegation. Our docking facilities may not be configured for a vessel of your specifications." "Agreed," Chen responded. "I'll bring a team of 4 in our auxiliary shuttle. We look forward to meeting face to face." As the transmission ended, the council erupted in overlapping conversations. The Gathori representatives' tentacles were practically tied in knots. Their technology level shouldn't be possible. Their social development patterns don't match any known models. Yet here they are, Vexa replied, all 4 eyes fixed on the massive human vessel. And they've chosen to approach through proper diplomatic channels rather than simply imposing their obviously superior firepower. The Angstei representative vibrated thoughtfully. Perhaps that is the most interesting data point of all. They have the power to take what they want, yet they ask permission to trade. Most fascinating. As the station's diplomatic corps scrambled to prepare for their first human visitors, Director Vexa couldn't shake the feeling that everything they thought they knew about galactic civilization was about to change. The humans had arrived, and they had done so not with the expected violence of their predatory appearance, but with words of trade and cultural exchange. The real question was, what would they do next? The Galactic Council's Dilemma. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council blazed with artificial daylight, illuminating the concerned faces of 200 species representatives. Holograms flickered above the central platform, displaying the human vessel Hyperion's specifications, or at least what their sensors could determine. High Counselor Nexus, their crystalline form refracting light in patterns of concern, addressed the emergency session. The humans have established 3 trading posts in the past month alone. Their vessels have been sighted in 47 sectors, far beyond their supposed territorial range. The recordings played above showed human ships of various configurations, sleek diplomatic vessels, enormous cargo haulers, and the now infamous warships that had the military advisors in a constant state of agitation. But it was the latest intelligence that caused the most concern. They're sharing technology, announced Security Director Kraz, his scaled hide shifting from blue to deep purple. Not their most advanced developments, but enough to alter the balance of power among developing worlds. The Vexri have already implemented human waste recycling systems, dropping their resource consumption by 60%. A ripple of chemical signals and electromagnetic pulses spread through the chamber, the equivalent of alarmed murmuring among the assembled species. The Vexri were supposed to be centuries away from such efficiency. There's more, Kraz continued. Their medical technology. He paused, mandibles clicking in what the universal translators indicated as disbelief. They've mapped their own genetic code. They'd modify themselves. And they're offering to share carefully vetted versions of this knowledge. The Engstai representative's crystalline form vibrated so intensely it nearly shattered. Impossible. Their civilization is barely 2,000 years old. They still have internal conflicts on their homeworld. Perhaps, suggested Ambassador Lith, her tentacles weaving thoughtful patterns. That is precisely why they advance so quickly. Their competition drives innovation at a pace we find disturbing. The holographic display shifted to footage from the Meridian Trading Post. The human delegation, led by Captain Chen, was conducting what they called a cultural exchange. To the shock of many council members, the humans had adapted to 17 different atmospheric requirements within a week, using what they casually referred to as modified environmental suits. They think differently, Lith continued. Where we seek consensus, they embrace debate. Where we perfect a technology over centuries, they iterate rapidly, accepting imperfection as a step toward improvement. Their ship's computing systems are a perfect example. They're not actually superior to ours in raw processing power, but they're configured in ways our engineers describe as beautifully irrational. The chamber's atmospheric processors struggled to keep up with the variety of stress chemicals being released by the assembled representatives. Humans were supposed to be contained to their small sector of space, a curiosity to be studied from afar. Instead, they were rewriting the rules of galactic society. There's something else, Security Director Kraz added, his scales shifting to a deep red. The piracy reports from the Outer Rim. They've dropped by 70% in regions where human vessels patrol, not through superior firepower, but through what they call predictive deployment. They anticipate criminal behavior and position their ships accordingly. High Counselor Nexus's crystalline form pulsed with decision patterns. We face 3 options. First, we can attempt to contain them, but their technology makes this problematic. Second, we can oppose them directly, but their military capabilities are concerning. Or third, we can learn from them, Ambassador Lith finished. They're not demanding empire or tribute. They're offering trade, knowledge, and protection. Perhaps our fear of their differences blinds us to opportunities. The debate raged for hours. The collective mind of the Silicon Confluence ran trillion-cycle simulations of possible outcomes. The elder spheres hummed with prehistoric wisdom. But it was the youngest member of the council, a recently uplifted species represented by Koval, who offered the most compelling perspective. We fear them because they are unlike us. Koval's holographic form pulsed. But consider, every major advancement in our history came from embracing the unknown. The humans are not a threat to stability. They are a catalyst for change. As if to punctuate Koval's words, new reports flooded in. A human medical team had just saved an entire Zixivith colony from a mutation of their silicon-based equivalent of a virus. The humans had solved in days what Zixivith biochemists had struggled with for years, simply by approaching the problem from a completely different paradigm. Perhaps, High Counselor Nexus concluded, their crystalline form now showing patterns of cautious optimism, we should stop trying to understand humans by our standards, and instead appreciate why they are different. After all, they came to us not as conquerors, but as traders and explorers. The council session ended with no firm decisions, something that would have been unthinkable before human contact. But as the representatives departed, many found themselves thinking about Captain Chen's words from the first contact. We're not here to change your civilization. We're here to expand it. The humans, it seemed, had already changed everything simply by being themselves. Operation Silent Shield. The refugee convoy limped through the outer rim, 17 ships of various sizes and configurations carrying 30,000 driftwalkers whose homeworld had been rendered uninhabitable by a stellar event. Their ships' engines strained against the void, running at 200% of recommended capacity just to maintain basic life support. In the lead vessel, Elder Kavan's tendrils curled with worry as she studied the long-range sensors. Pirates, she whispered, the word carrying the weight of certain doom. The Crimson Cartel's warships had been stalking them for 3 days, staying just outside weapons range, waiting for the refugees' overtaxed engines to fail. The pirates' reputation was well known. They didn't leave survivors. The cartel believed dead victims couldn't seek revenge. Unknown vessels detected, announced the sensor operator, their bioluminescent patches flashing with confusion. Multiple signatures. They're just appearing out of nowhere. Kavan's primary sensory cluster focused on the tactical display. 5 ships had somehow emerged from what seemed to be empty space, their energy signatures unlike anything in their database. The comm system crackled to life. Refugee convoy. This is Captain Marcus Wong of the Earth Special Operations vessel Shadow Step. We've been tracking the cartel fleet. Continue on your current course. We'll handle this. The human vessels moved with impossible precision, their drives operating in ways that defied conventional physics. They seemed to flicker in and out of normal space, appearing and disappearing like cosmic ghosts. The cartel ships, caught by surprise, scattered in different directions, directly into the humans' trap. 2 more vessels decloaked behind them, cutting off their retreat. The pirates' communication channels erupted with panic. Their weapons aren't even powered up, Kavan's tactical officer noted with astonishment. The humans are hurting them using just their maneuvers. Captain Wong's voice came through again, this time addressing the pirates. Crimson Cartel vessels, power down your weapons and engines. This sector is under Earth protection. You have 30 seconds to comply. The cartel responded with a barrage of plasma torpedoes, which passed harmlessly through apparent human ship positions. Kavan's crew watched in amazement as they realized the humans had projected false sensor images, causing the pirates to waste ammunition on phantoms. The real human ships emerged from different vectors, their movements synchronized in a complex dance that further scattered the pirate fleet. Still, they hadn't fired a single shot. Fascinating, Kavan murmured. They're using the pirates' own tactical doctrine against them. The cartel relies on fear and confusion, and the humans are simply doing it better. The largest pirate vessel, presumably the command ship, attempted to accelerate to FTL speeds. Instead of pursuing, the human vessels projected some kind of interference field that forced all ships in the area back into normal space. Final warning. Wang's voice was calm but carried unmistakable authority. Your FTL drives are neutralized, your weapons are depleted, and your formation is broken. Surrender now. The pirates' response came in the form of their traditional last resort tactic, a suicide run at the refugee convoy. They never got the chance. With surgical precision, the human vessels fired for the first and only time, disabling the pirates' engines with some kind of electromagnetic pulse that left their life support intact. Convoy secured, Wang announced. We'll escort you to the nearest safe port. Earth Medical Corps is standing by to assist with any health issues from your extended engine strain. As human engineering teams began coordinating with the refugee ships to stabilize their failing systems, Kiven received a private transmission from Captain Wang. Elder Kiven, we apologize for not intervening sooner. We needed the cartel to commit their forces fully so we could eliminate their presence in this sector permanently. Your people's courage in continuing your journey helped make this possible. Kiven's tendrils waved in the equivalent of astonished laughter. You used us as bait, with a full tactical support team monitoring your ship's systems remotely to ensure your safety, Wang confirmed. We calculated a 98% chance the cartel would fall for it. They've been preying on refugee convoys for too long. They never expected one to fight back, or to have friends they couldn't see. As the human ships escorted them to safety, Kiven's crew began receiving technical updates from the Earth engineering teams, improvements to their engine efficiency, power distribution, and life support systems. The humans were not only protecting them, they were teaching them to protect themselves. Perhaps, Kiven mused to her bridge crew, the stories we heard about humans being predators were correct, just not in the way anyone expected. They don't hunt the weak, they hunt those who prey upon the weak. The convoy's journey to safety was marked by an unexpected sound on their bridge. Laughter, as the human engineers shared jokes across species barriers while upgrading their systems. The driftwalkers had expected to find only death in the outer rim. Instead, they found something far rarer: hope. The bridge between worlds. Project Director Zeneville stood in the observation dome of the partially completed Unity station, her crystalline form refracting the light of 3 nearby stars. Below her, construction drones from 17 different species worked in harmony, guided by both alien and human engineers in what had become the greatest collaborative engineering project in known space. Impossible, they had said. Different atmospheric requirements, incompatible technological standards, conflicting architectural philosophies. Yet here it was, a space station being built by humans and aliens together, designed to accommodate every known spacefaring species. We have a problem in Section 47, announced Lai Wei, the human chief engineer, floating up to the observation level in her modified EVA suit. The Enk's-Tai crystal growth matrices aren't integrating properly with the Zextani liquid metal conduits. In the past, such an engineering challenge would have taken months of committee meetings to resolve. Instead, Lai Wei displayed a holographic simulation of her proposed solution, a hybrid system that somehow merged the seemingly incompatible technologies. How did you develop this so quickly? Zeneville asked, her crystalline edges humming with curiosity. We didn't, Lai Wei replied with a smile. We asked the maintenance crews. Turns out they've been jury-rigging similar solutions for years. We just formalized their unofficial improvements and made them safer. That was the human way. Finding solutions in unexpected places, valuing practical experience as much as theoretical knowledge. It had shocked many species at first, but the results were undeniable. The station's central core contained what the humans called a United Nations complex. Zones where representatives of all species could meet in their native atmospheric conditions, connected by a network of advanced environmental transition chambers. But it was the human recreational areas that had become unexpectedly popular. Another group of hive mind delegates requesting access to the coffee shop simulation reported station security, their tentacles waving with amusement. The concept of a gathering place purely for social interaction and mild stimulant consumption had fascinated many species. Suddenly, warning lights flashed across all sections. Microfractures detected in the primary support structure, announced the station's eye. Cascading failure possible in multiple sections. The various species engineering teams immediately began their standard emergency protocols, and just as immediately ran into conflicts with each other's procedures. In the ensuing chaos, Lai Wei's voice cut through the comm channels. Everyone stop. Look at the pattern of the fractures. She highlighted a series of points on the station's structural display. These aren't random failures. The station isn't breaking. It's growing. Xenovol's crystalline form vibrated with sudden understanding. The HFY matrices, they're attempting to self-repair according to their base programming, but they're interpreting the entire station as a single crystal structure. Exactly, Lai Wei confirmed. We don't need to stop it. We need to guide it. Director, remember that crazy idea you had about adaptive architecture? The one everyone said was too risky. Xenovol's form pulsed with surprise. You want to implement my organic architecture protocols. Now, during a crisis. Best time for it, Lai Wei grinned. The station's already changing. Let's work with it instead of against it. What followed was either brilliant innovation or complete madness, depending on which species you asked. Human engineers worked alongside alien specialists, reprogramming the crystal matrices to work in harmony with the station's other systems. The liquid metal conduits were integrated into the growth pattern, creating new structural supports even as the old ones transformed. Over the next 12 hours, Unity Station changed. The rigid geometric patterns favored by traditional engineering merged with crystalline growths and organic curves. Different sections adapted to their inhabitants' needs, while the central core developed a self-repairing system that drew from all participating species technologies. It's alive, breathed one of the Zextani engineers, watching the station's new systems stabilize. Not alive like us, but aware, adaptive. That's what we were trying to build all along, wasn't we? Lai Wei asked, turning to Xenovol. Not just a place where different species could exist together, but a structure that could learn and grow with its inhabitants. The observation dome had changed too, its new crystalline structure offering even clearer views of space while providing better structural support. As representatives from various species gathered to examine the station's transformation, Xenovol noticed something remarkable. The different engineering teams were no longer clustered by species. Humans stood alongside HFY crystalline entities, discussing growth algorithms with Zextani liquid metal specialists. Traditional boundaries had dissolved in the face of shared challenge and triumph. Perhaps, Xenovol observed, this is the true purpose of Unity Station, not just to bridge our physical worlds, but to show us how our differences make us stronger together. Lai Wei nodded, watching a group of junior engineers from 6 different species excitedly planning improvements to their sections. The station's not the only thing that's evolving, she said. We all are. Unity Station became more than just another space station. It became a symbol of what was possible when species worked together, each contributing their unique perspectives and capabilities. The humans hadn't just helped build a station. They had helped forge a new way of thinking about cooperation itself. A new dawn. The message that changed everything arrived through quantum channels that hadn't been used in 10,000 years. Ancient warning beacons, placed by long-vanished species, suddenly blazed to life across 17 sectors. At Unity Station, every quantum receiver simultaneously activated with a single word in the first language. They return. The harvesters, creatures of such ancient horror that most species had relegated them to myth, were awakening from their millennial hibernation. Long-dormant sensors detected their vast bioorganic ships stirring in the spaces between galaxies. In the Unity Station's emergency council chamber, representatives from every known species gathered. The humans, still newcomers by galactic standards, listened as elder species recounted historical records of previous harvester invasions. They consume everything, explained archive bearer Televic, their ancient memory crystals projecting images of worlds stripped to their cores. Not just life, they devour technology, energy, even space-time itself. 3 times they have swept through this galaxy, and 3 times civilization has nearly fallen. Captain Sarah Chen, now Earth's primary representative, studied the tactical projections. Previous encounters indicate they'll arrive in approximately 30 days. Traditional defensive strategies are useless, interrupted Security Director Kraz, scales shifting to deepest black. Their bioships adapt to any weapon used against them. Each attack makes them stronger. Good, Chen said, surprising everyone. The universal translator struggled to convey the multiple layers of meaning in her smile. That's exactly what we need. Over the next hour, Chen presented a plan so audacious that the universal translators had to be recalibrated 3 times to properly convey the concepts. The humans proposed using the harvester's adaptive nature against them, not by fighting, but by giving them exactly what they wanted, with a twist. Unity Station became the center of the most ambitious engineering project in galactic history. Human innovation merged with alien technologies in ways that broke conventional scientific models. The Enk's-Tai crystal growth matrices were reprogrammed using principles derived from human computer viruses. Sextani liquid metal was infused with modified human nanobots. We're not trying to destroy them, Chen explained as the work progressed. We're trying to change them. Everything they consume becomes part of them. So let's give them something that will make them evolve beyond their base nature. The harvesters arrived exactly as predicted, their massive bioships darkening star systems as they approached. The first battles went exactly as the historical records suggested. Conventional weapons were absorbed, shields were bypassed, and worlds were threatened. Then they reached Unity Station. The transformed station pulsed with energy patterns specifically designed to attract the harvester's attention. As their vast forms descended upon it, the station's new hybrid systems activated. Crystal matrices merged with liquid metal, guided by human-designed adaptive algorithms. The station didn't resist being consumed. Instead, it embraced the invasion. The results exceeded even the humans' optimistic predictions. The hybrid technologies, developed through cooperation between species, began to alter the harvesters from within. Their consumption-based existence began to transform into something new, something that had never existed before. From Unity Station's backup control center, hidden in subspace, the allied species watched in amazement as the harvester ships began to change. The mindless consumption patterns shifted, becoming more complex, more aware. The very qualities that made the station unique, its ability to adapt, to bridge differences, to grow through cooperation, infected the harvesters like a benevolent virus. They're not stopping their consumption, observed archive bearer Televic. They're redirecting it, looking for uninhabited systems, dead worlds. They're becoming part of the galactic ecosystem, Chen explained. Instead of destroying civilizations, they're transforming dead zones into new resources. They're still harvesters. We couldn't change their basic nature. But now they're harvesting in a way that helps rather than destroys. The crisis passed, but its effects resonated through galactic society. The humans had proved themselves not just as warriors or innovators, but as transformative agents. They didn't simply solve problems. They changed the context that created them. In Unity Station's rebuilt observation dome, now grown from a hybrid of all known architectural styles, Captain Chen stood with representatives from across the galaxy. The station had become more than a symbol. It was a blueprint for a new way of existence. Perhaps, mused Elder Kuvan, her tendrils waving thoughtfully. This is why the humans advanced so quickly. They don't just adapt to challenges, they help others adapt as well. They don't seek to dominate, but to transform. The station's crystal walls hummed with energy as a transformed harvester ship passed peacefully nearby. Its ancient hunger now turned to restoration rather than destruction. In its wake, dead worlds were beginning to bloom again. We have a saying on Earth, Chen said, watching the massive ship. A rising tide lifts all boats. We never wanted to conquer the galaxy. We just wanted to help it grow. As news spread of the Harvester's transformation, something unprecedented happened across known space. Species that had hidden themselves away made contact. Ancient automated systems revealed their creators. The galaxy was changing, growing, transforming, not through force or fear, but through cooperation and innovation. Unity Station's quantum channels hummed with messages in thousands of languages, all sharing the same basic meaning. A new age had begun, not just for humanity or for any single species, but for all of them together. The humans hadn't just helped save civilization. They had helped it evolve into something greater than the sum of its parts.